And we are live, I believe. Oh my goodness, we're 1 minute early. Hi, Michael. How are you?
I'm great, thanks. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well, pretty good. Hi, everyone. Oh, there's a bunch of people in the chat already saying hello. I'll just introduce myself first. I am Joanne from GoWP, and today we have the webinar Why Outsourcing Services Can Be the Best Way to Scale Your Agency with Michael Short. Michael Short from GoWP. So this is even more exciting because he's our very own, our senior account manager. Right, I
That's
got that
correct. Yep.
right.
All right.
So, yes, hello to everyone in the chat. So, if you're watching on Facebook Live, say hello in that chat. We have two chats going on because we're streaming live on Facebook and we are live on Crowdcast. So, hi everyone on Crowdcast. So, Rob, Beth Livingston, Kim Ortiz from Jersey, Eric from California, Roy from Texas. I'm also in Texas, Roy. I'm in Houston. And Beth Livingston, I already say hello. Shout out to North Carolina. Shout out to Ohio. Emily, I'm just like giving shout outs now. Hi to Emily in Ohio, already after the afternoon. Oh, so it's so good to see everyone say hello in the chat. This is always really exciting to me. So, again, I'm Joanne from GoWP, and I like to welcome you again to today's GoWP webinar, Why Outsourcing Services Can Be the Best Way to Scale Your Agency, with our very own Michael Short. Really, just quickly, I just want to say a couple of words about GoWP in case anyone watching isn't familiar with us yet. At GoWP, we create happiness for digital agencies and help them become more profitable. Whether you're looking to grow your team with a developer, copywriter, a designer, or a project manager, or you're just interested in outsourcing services so you can focus on growth, we got you covered. So we've also built a digital agency owners community, an active community of more than 1,800 agency owners where we hold regular group calls, webinars like this one, and mastermind sessions. So you can grow your team with GoWP and grow your agency with GoWP as well. If you're interested in our digital agency owners community, I will drop the link to the Facebook on the chat in just a second. And if you're watching live in the Facebook community, hello, thank you for being with us. We appreciate and value you guys so much. If you have any questions about partnering with GoWP and how we can help your agency, feel free to reach out, whether it's in the chat or whether it's afterwards shooting us an email. We're going to always be happy to help you guys in any way we can possibly can. And a few notes regarding the webinar, today's webinar. I will be watching the chat. So if you have any questions, just throw them in there and I'll make sure Michael gets them. And yeah, we already did a really quick chat check. So everything looking good. And yeah, thank you, Emily and Kim, for the nice notes on the community over on the Crowdcast chat. So yeah, let's get to it. Let's get on to why we're here today. So Michael is our senior account manager here at GoWP. And in addition to that, he has over 22 years of experience helping small businesses leverage their online marketing strategies to generate leads, add clients, and increase revenue. He scaled his agency and increased profits by utilizing an outsourced team. So to this date, he's helped hundreds of companies scale their agency with dedicated services such as WordPress developers, copywriters, designers, and project managers. So welcome, Michael, to today's webinar. How are you?
I'm great, thanks. Thanks for having me, I guess, on our own channel, on our own webinar.
Yeah,
Usually
you
I'm
already
on
got the
other
hat
people's
going.
webinars. Yeah.
We have different shades of green. We're
I
all like
know, right?
on
I do.
brand, GoWP on brand.
Yeah, 50 Shades of Green.
For sure.
So
So
yeah,
yes,
Thanks for having me. Yeah. So, for those that don't know who I am, as she mentioned, I'm Michael from GoWP, a senior account manager over here. But a little more about my background. I've actually, I guess I could just cut right into it, right? Or do we want to chat first?
Yeah,
The
no,
discussion.
let's get right into it.
Okay, let's do that.
So I'm just gonna let Michael get right into it. I will be watching the chat, and if anything, any technological hiccups, I'll most likely be in the background. I'll come online if you need me, but I will turn off my camera and turn off my mic, just go off screen, and the stage is yours, Michael.
All right. Thank you very much. I'll share my screen now and get started. Let's see here. We'll do this window, share, and you should all see my screen now. There we go. All right. So today, obviously, we're going to be talking about growing your agency with outsourcing services. I'm Michael, as I mentioned, and I've had my own agency for the past 22 years, still run it, although I don't actively work in it on a daily basis from the sense of like a 9 to 5 or 8 to 6, or what I used to do is I would work till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning most days because I didn't outsource, and so maybe some of you guys will be able to relate with that. And then in a position where you might have one or two other people working for you, but you just kind of feel bottlenecked. And then we're going to talk about how to solve some of those issues and do it at a cost-effective way, or at least how I've managed to find how to do that cost effectively. Um, so in addition to my agency, I also create plugins, and we have a team of developers that do plugin development for me. And so I've been kind of around this whole WordPress space for quite some time. Prior to WordPress, my team and I developed our own CMS platform. And at the time we called it iDrive, and it was before, like, I guess WordPress was coming into the scene, and I had clients asking me like, can we add a blog to my site? And at the time, I didn't quite understand what all of that meant, and I just thought a blog was just another page on a website. And I guess technically it's kind of is, but it's not exactly the same. So that's how I described it to them. I said, you guys don't need WordPress. You don't need a blog. You just need to add a page to your site and put an article on it. So anyways, times have obviously changed. We have embraced WordPress for, I don't know, since 1990, probably not 99. I would say we got into it. It's not 99. That's when I started the business. So it would have probably been around 2007, 8. I think we started WordPress. I'm not sure. I'm not even sure how long WordPress has been around, but we've had a lot of iterations in our business, and we've settled on WordPress and haven't looked back since. We did try Drupal and Joomla to try to determine which would be the best CMS platform for us. And again, we just settled on WordPress, and we've been happy with it ever since. So that's a little bit about me. So let's go ahead and get started with what this is about. And hopefully you'll be able to resonate a little bit with my story. A lot of this I'm going to kind of delve into the experiences that I've had, in addition to like what we recommend here at GoWP in terms of helping you find an outsourced partner that's going to fit your team and help you grow and scale your agency. So the things that we're going to discover is why outsourcing services can be the best and fastest way to scale your agency. Scaling growth at your agency by outsourcing services, basically saying the same thing there. How to manage and communicate with an outsourced partner. That can be tricky at times, so we'll get into that a little bit. The typical work production that you can expect from an outsourced partner. I know that a lot of times we go in with expectations that maybe are too high or too low, and so we'll get into that a little bit. And then how much you should expect to pay. And then we'll talk about a few other things and how to get them onboarded and stuff like that. And so those are the things we'll cover today. And hopefully, if you have any questions at the end, please let me know. I'm happy to answer them for you. Also, I want to note that at the end, I'm going to give you a link to schedule a free strategy call with me. So if you ever in a situation where you're just not sure if outsourcing now is the right fit for you, or some of the challenges that you might be facing having outsourced before, those sort of things, I talk about this every day, day in and day out. So I'd be more than happy to jump on a call with any of you and kind of just go over your specific needs and wants and that kind of thing. So let's get started. So how to scale your agency by outsourcing services, scaling growth at your agency. Now, obviously I'm just reading this, but scaling growth at the agency by outsourcing services. So again, the background with me when it comes to outsourcing, I didn't really take full advantage of it until about 4 years ago, probably when I started getting into more of the WordPress plugin space. Prior to that, I went up and down with the team. Sometimes I would have people on my team, sometimes I wouldn't, just depending on the volume of work that we would have at the time. I do have one guy on my team that's my right hand man. He's my project manager, and so he's affords me the ability to not work my business during the day while I'm working for GoWP. So he handles all the projects, handles all the our partners, or our team, I should say, because that's what really they are now. It's our team, and we don't look at them as necessarily outsourced, even though that's how the structure of it is. And so since the beginning, it's just been him and I for the most part, and then we would bring people on. I've had this big ambition when Mad Men came out to have a big office and lots of people, and just thought I'd become the Don Draper without the drama, and so that worked for a little bit, but I realized that having those extra expenses just really hurt the bottom line. And what I also found, we had a really nice office downtown overlooking the water in Long Beach, California. That's just Southern California, LA area. And we noticed that, like, as we were there, that we had a nice like conference room and all this stuff, but nobody really wanted to come. It was very far and few between when our clients would come, because they're so busy working on their own businesses that it's just to take time out of their day to drive down to, and beach area locations are not necessarily the best place either, because they're not centralized. So it's kind of hard to get in and out of a beach, something that's along the coast. And so it just was one of those things that just didn't work out. And we had this high expense that wasn't really paying off for us. So we ended up not losing, but getting rid of it, and moving on, and going back into more of a structure of where everyone is working remotely. And so that's how we did it. Moses he lived locally to me, so he would come in, but all of any resources that we had at the time would all be remote. And that worked out well for a little bit, but going through different resources, it was always very challenging to find the right person. Always going to be a different. I think there was a combination of me not understanding how to properly manage people in terms of like giving the expectation levels and demonstrating things, and those are the things that I feel like I have a really good grasp of now, especially having the experience that I now have with GoWP. It's been a great experience. So it's really helped me grow. Not only it helped me grow as an individual, also helps me grow with my agency, because I get to have conversations with other agencies to see how they're managing their outsourced partners or their businesses in general. And it's just, gives ideas, and when you're ever bouncing ideas, it's always good. It helps with growth. And so in the process of trying to find like VAs or designers or developers, it's, like, it was very challenging. Oftentimes, like specifically with copywriters, for example, we've gone through several of copywriters at my agency, because there's a lot of people that will promise a good talk or a good service, and then when you get the content, the words are there, but then as you read them, it doesn't make logical sense of what they're actually saying in a lot of cases, I've found. And so there'd be a lot of editing going back and forth, and it just ended up feeling like I was having to micromanage and do all majority of the work myself. And that was never the intent, or why you want to hire someone, an outsourced service, is you want to take it off your plate, not add more stuff to your plate. And so that's been some of the challenges that we faced during the process, and I can go on for days on stories on that, and we might talk about a few more of those as we go through this presentation. So how to scale your agency, again, that's the same thing. So how to manage and communicate with an outsourced, I said copywriter here, I should have changed that one bit. I changed it everywhere else but there. But outsourced partner. In this case, we're not just talking specifically about copywriters, or I would like to talk about copywriters, designers, developers, project managers, VAs, anybody that you're looking to help you scale your agency, to take stuff off of your plate. And so the way that we communicate internally for our team, for my agency, is that we use a project management tool. We use Plutio. That's the one that we fell on. That's whole another story. We've gone through several to get to Plutio. I don't necessarily think it's the best solution. I think that I think it is the best solution for us, because the best solution is the solution that you use at the end of the day. And so we use it, it works, and we're happy with it. I have no complaints, to be honest with you. We did use ClickUp for a minute. And the reason we moved off of ClickUp was just because the cost savings that going on Plutio. So but I think ClickUp is an amazing tool as well. We use that here internally with GoWP. So it's a great tool. So whatever tool you settle on, you definitely want to have a way to communicate with your outsourced partner, so that they know what projects are on the plate, what they need to work on now. You can assign the task according to what needs to be done before others. And so that's one way to communicate. And then the other communication tool we like to use in both GoWP and in my agency is Slack. That's a great way for us to have quick conversation, ask questions quickly without necessarily waiting for people to talk about project specific stuff. We do have the ability to communicate on the project side, but also it's nice to have that quick communication with Slack. So we do that. And then we also sometimes I should say, not too often, but we can jump on Google Meet or Zoom calls. That's always good as well to stay in front of each other. As far as like seeing each other's face, it's a great way to build that camaraderie and just get each other to, just feel like you know each other and that you're not just another person behind a screen. So the first thing I recommend is getting your house in order. What you want to do is identify your business goals. You're going to list tasks needed to reach your goal. My throat's getting dry now. I didn't expect that to happen. I should have some water next to me. So you want to identify your business goals. Excuse me. And then once you have those identified, you're going to list the tasks that are needed to reach those goals. And then you're going to compare those to the tasks you're currently doing, and then eliminate the unnecessary tasks. Sorry, I'm just getting choppy. Can you hold on 1 second? Natalie, can you give me a soda, please? Sorry about that. My throat is just gone crazy on me. All right, so the first thing is outsource your low value tasks so that you can focus on the high value tasks. One of the things great about outsourcing is that you don't have to do everything yourself. You can actually get rid of some of the things that you don't want to do. On my team, I have someone I have a copywriter, I have a designer, I have a developer, and I also have a VA. That's kind of my do-all thing besides Moses, who's my project manager. So my do-all is like that low value task, the guy that just gets things done for me, does the research, sends out emails, checks my emails, things like that I don't want to have to do on a daily basis because I have other things I need to be doing with my day. And then which is my high value task. So the way you want to prioritize what tasks that you could use help with is you're going to look at 5 different areas. You're going to look at what you're good at, what do you enjoy, what is profitable for you, what can you scale, and then what those tasks that aren't time consuming. And what I'm going to show you on the next screen is a sheet. Oh, that's not the next screen. Actually, there's one more screen before that. And then you evaluate those tasks based on your priorities. So there's 5 priorities. There's your skill, happiness, profitability, your scalability, and your time. So am I good at this? It's the skill. Is it something that you're really good at? If you're a developer and that's how you got into the business, and that's something that you feel strong about, then maybe that you don't want to give that part of your business up as the first thing. You want to give up things that you're not necessarily good at, like let's say copywriting or marketing or something along those lines, maybe doing social posts. You want to just stay focused on the things that you're good at. The happiness, what makes you happy, that you want to, obviously work on the things that you didn't get into this business so you can be miserable. You can go work for somebody else and be miserable. Why? So you want to work on the things that are going to make you happy and find the people that are going to do the things that you don't like doing, but that make them happy. So then the next thing is your profitability. Is it a profitable task? I mean, you might be happy working on just answering emails, but it's not going to be necessarily profitable. So you need to find the type of task that is profitable for you to focus on. And then scalable, is it, can it scale with the current resources that you have, or do you need more resources? And then time, is it time consuming? Is it something that's taking up too much of your task? For example, maintenance or content edits. Those are 2 plans that we offer here at GoWP to help you not have to be so drained on your time for handling like minor things that are not necessarily going to make you a lot of money. Those things you should just take off your plate so that you could focus on the things that are going to get you new and more business, which is like communicating with customers and trying to find new prospects and all that kind of stuff. So now comes the sheet that I was talking about. So on the left side is the department of your business. So you think of it breaking down your business by department. Even if it's just you right now or 2 people or just a few, you want to think of each type of a task as a part of a certain department. So like as you think to grow and scale your business, you want to think ahead. So you want to think of who would I need in place? What are the types of roles will I need to have? And then what tasks would each of those roles have so that I can prepare better for the future? And so you break those on by departments. You create those departments. So in this particular screenshot, we have a sales department, social media, a marketing, a maintenance, a hosting, site builds, customer success or service, support, testimonials, finance, HR, legal, IT. And as you go through those lists on the right hand side, you write out each task for what those departments would be responsible for. So in this case, like the top one says, sales is identifying and contacting prospects. Then on the right hand side, it goes into the 5 things that we talked about. Are they is it a skill that you have? Is it something that makes you happy? Is it something that's profitable, scalable, and time consuming? And so you rate each of these tasks on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the lowest and 10 being the highest. And then you score them on the right hand side, and then that should give you, based on the highest score, what are the areas of your business that you feel are that you should be addressing yourself, and what you need help with hiring an outsourced partner with or for. So then let's talk about managing the relationships with outsourced partners, what to expect and how to have success. So this is an important factor when you're hiring, is knowing how, expectations actually is super important. You can definitely set yourself up for failure if you over expect them to do things you that they're not prepared for, even though they come in with a set of skills and talent, and that's what that you hired them for. There is still your expectations. I'm sorry, your processes and uh, the way you like to see things done, and so you want to make sure that they understand all of those things. That yeah, they come with that set of talent, but you want them to also understand how what your processes look like, and help them get acclimated to your way of doing things, and that sets them up for success. And we'll get into some of the details on how to do that here shortly. So this next slide is about our onboarding checklist. We're going to go through each of these bullet points individually, but they include things like creating an email account for them, a team chat account, setting them up in your project management tool, giving them a warm welcome, and things like that. And we're going to, like I said, going into each of these individually, so I don't want to jump ahead too much. This checklist is also at the end. And if you need a copy of my slide for any reason, feel free to reach out to me. We actually have this entire presentation is a breakdown of our onboarding guide that we have as a lead magnet on our website. And so if you want this, just reach out to me and I can send you our guide, as well as a copy of my presentation if you like. So let's move on to the next. Let's get started with the checklist. So creating an email account. This is something that we highly recommend here at GoWP. It's something I also do for all of my team. It allows them to feel like they're part of the team. Like, it's not just like you're sending it to their Gmail account or anything. Everything is being done under the one brand, your brand. And also, if there's any correspondences that happen to get in front of a client, even by accident, it's always good to have a, a branded email address to your company, so there's no question of like, who is that? Like, you're outsourcing? Like, why wouldn't I just do that myself then? So you want to kind of avoid those kind of conversations, anything that negative that might come from that. So it's always just good to look on brand and just give them their own email account. Then you also want to create a team chat account, which we kind of talked about a little bit briefly before, which is where at GoWP and at my agency, we use Slack. You can use Skype. You could use WhatsApp. You could use whatever you need to use, but just have a way for everyone to communicate with one another. And so that's definitely, you would want to incorporate that. And then you're going to create a user account in your project management tool. So make sure that they're a part of your project management. They can see all the projects that are assigned to them, when their due dates are, that sort of thing, and keep notes and record and files and all of that in one place. So, so that everyone's on the same page. That's very important when you're outsourcing, especially when you don't have an in-house team and everyone's not in the same room. It's even more important. It's important in all aspects, but it's even more important when everyone's working remotely. And one of the things I learned at GoWP, actually, that we do very well, is giving them a warm welcome and making them really feel like they're a part of the team. You wouldn't know how, that you don't think about how important that is, but it is super important. Give them a warm welcome, whether it's via Slack, maybe even having an introduction Zoom call with everybody, whatever you feel most comfortable with. But it's definitely something that you should consider doing. That way they don't feel like they're just isolated and just another number or ticketing system, but that they're actually a part of a team. Then you want to introduce them to your brand. So obviously they're going to know the company name, but you also want them to just know what you stand for, what your mission statement is, how you interact with customers and clients, and how you expect things to be done. All of those stuff, all of that should be addressed with them, so that there's no assumptions being made. And in the following slides, there's going to be more things that could easily be assumed, and so we definitely know we don't want to assume anything. We know what that spells. So definitely introduce them to your brand. You want to review the expectations with your outsourced partner. So again, assuming that they already know their role and their job is one thing, but you also need to help them understand what their expectations are, and within your organization, who are they going to report to, what level of experience and expectations do you have for them to to do their job. Obviously, with any outsourced partner or any new hire for that matter, there's going to always be a time when you're going to have to get someone acclimated to the way you do things, your expectations and processes and workflows and so forth. So they know that going in. That takes a week, 2 weeks, depending on the role. But when someone does finally get up to speed, it's an amazing thing. So don't let that deter you, but do have have those expectations for yourself, but then also be able to convey the expectations you have for them to them very early on. It's very helpful. Also review your toolkit. What are the tools that you're going to use besides just your project management tool and your communication tool like Slack? Also, what are the page builders you're going to use? What plugins do you typically use? Like if we're talking to someone in particular that's a developer, if it's a copywriter, what are they going to be using? Google Docs, Microsoft tools? How do you want them to communicate back and forth, or what tools are they going to use to actually perform their tasks and their projects? And then the next thing is shadow a team member if possible. So if you're just a team of one, it's going to be more difficult to have someone kind of follow you along while you're trying to get other things done. So in this case, if it's just a team of one or two, what I recommend doing is doing Loom videos. It's always helpful, like something like Loom, if not Loom itself, but a tool where you can record your screen and you walking them through what it is that you want them to do, something that they can. It's actually, in my opinion, almost better than having a shadow, because that way they can always refer back to it and just have a collection of videos that they could see. Oh yeah, he said to do this, or this is what it looks like, or where I find it, instead of having to visualize it. It's always good. A good way to communicate with someone that's like not necessarily in an office and over your shoulder looking at things, or someone that has direct access to you, immediate access to you. And then you want to complete a demo task. Now this can go one of two ways. You can actually create a demo task that you want them to work on. So if it's a developer, if you have a mock site that you want them to work on just to see what their code looks like and give them guidance and make sure that they're working in the direction that you want them to work. That's one way of doing it. The other way that I recommend also doing it is just give them a task that is not so critical, something that's not going to set them up for failure. Like give them something on the low end so that they can just kind of get up to speed and acclimate to the way you do things. So again, so I would, whether it's a demo task or a low entry task, but just kind of gradually bring them into your systems. Don't expect them to just hit the ground running. Although I can say this at GoWP without overpromising, please do not take this as an overpromise, but we have some amazing talent on our team that typically can pretty much hit the ground running for the most part. Again, everyone still needs acclimation, so I don't want to overpromise, but it's an amazing team. I just have to say that. So anyways, define the project. That, again, you don't want to assume anything. You want to be very as specific as possible when you're defining the projects, especially in the very beginning when they're not used to like the way you do things. It's important that you make it very clear what it is that you expect them to do. And even in a lot of cases, how you expect them to do it, like which tools you want them to use, how you want them to use that tool. For example, developer space, a lot of times people say, I use Elementor. And so a developer can naturally go grab Elementor and use the widgets, but maybe the agency doesn't necessarily like to use the widgets. They prefer everything CSS until you have to use the widgets, or even vice versa. I've seen it both ways. And so just whatever way you are, you want to be very specific to them, and just don't assume that they're going to do it your way out the box. Then you're going to set up the project. So whatever new project you're working on, ideally you're going to set that up for them, get them started. Ultimately, like, developers will eventually be able to set up their own sites and DNS and all of that stuff when they have access. But in the beginning, the first project or two, I'm sure you'll have you or someone on your team will need to get them set up so that they can get started on the project. So that, I recommend that there. And then sharing details of your technical stack. So it's important to give them access to the tools and things that they're going to need access to. So login, access, stuff like that. Share those details. Be careful, of course. I recommend using things like LastPass or 1Password or something along those lines that hide some of those details for you, or make it easy for you to change those in the future if things were to go south. Hopefully that doesn't happen, but there are horror stories about hiring people on places like Upwork and stuff, and them just getting upset. I apologize, I gotta take a drink. My throat's getting dry. Excuse me. Thank you. So yeah, you definitely want to get them set up in your technical stack, get them access to what they need to have access to. And then you want to provide guidance on the work along the way. Like, what is how to handle the headers and footers in terms of like a developer. Which fonts should they be used? Which fonts should be used, and any acceptable alternatives, and best practices for uploading and naming and editing images, the color palette to be used. There's just so many things that, like, depending on what their role is, that you're going to want to make sure that you give them some guidance so that they know which direction to go and not wasting time trying to figure it out themselves, or more importantly, like wasting time and going in the wrong directions only to have to do the work twice, 3 times. And that will just make for a bad start to a relationship that otherwise could be amazing. So just know that a lot of this falls on your shoulder in the beginning, just to get them up and going. You have to take responsibility for being the person that's going to be managing them. And as long as all the expectations are clear, you've given them great guidance, it should be smooth sailing. And that's what brings me into remember to communicate. Like, you can never over communicate. Communication is obviously key. It's important to stay, like, whether it's through your project management tools, communicating with them via this, like a Slack channel, something along those lines. Also, I found using some of my resources. For example, my copywriter understands he's been with us now for the longest outside of my right-hand guy, my project manager. And so he's able to actually take on managerial, I can't even say the word. He's able to manage other people on the team. So he's able to say, okay, this is ready and we need this design. Like, he manages the designer, he manages the VA, and just says, okay, we need this, we need that. And so just know that as your communication skill, like the things that you have in place for communication, they can also be transferred to other people to use to communicate to the team. And it kind of brings you out of the equation. I kind of went off a tangent on that one, but it's just nice to know that, like, you can use your team also to communicate with other members of your team instead of having to always be like that central source, I guess, is really where I was trying to get you with all of that. So let's recap real quick. So we're going to create an email account for them. We're going to create a team chat account like Slack or Skype or something along those lines. You're going to create a user account in your project management tool, whether that's something like Plutio, Basecamp, Asana, ClickUp, any of those kind of tools will work. You're going to give them a warm welcome when they join your team. You're going to introduce them to your brand and help them understand what your mission statement is, how you think and how you do things, how you communicate with your customers, those sort of things. And then you're going to review expectations with the outsourced partner. I got to fix that in my spelling there. And then you're going to review your toolkit, all the tools that you're using. Make sure that they know what tools they need to be using to perform their job. And then you're going to have them shadow a team member, or you're going to create possibly Loom videos to help them see and know exactly what they need to be doing in the beginning, initially in the initial setup. And then you're going to complete a demo task for them, whether that's going to be a completely demo task that you set up, or just giving them more of a low entry introduction to the type of work that you guys will be working on. And then you're going to define the project as specific as possible. You're going to set up the initial project for them. So that way they don't have to do that bit in the beginning. And then you're also going to share details of your technical stack, like the login information or whatnot. You're going to provide them guidance on design or whatever aspect of the work that they're going to be working on, design, development, whatever it is. And then lastly, you're going to you can schedule communication. I didn't actually say schedule in the previous slide, or at least I didn't read through the verbiage. You might have said it in there. Scheduling communication is also important too. Having meetings with them on a regular basis is really, really good and helpful. It makes them stay on task, makes them feel like a team, and it's just it's good practice. So now we get to the questions part. I don't even know how much time I just spent, but if you need outsourced services, you need help, feel free to reach out to me anytime. I'm Mike at GoWP.com, and I want to connect with you. We have vetted and onboarded developers, copywriters, designers, even project managers, and that are ready to join your team. And we've done all the hard work to find the best talent. I've, from personal experience, I've tried finding talent myself in that previous experiences that I mentioned. And it is tough. You go through a lot of people, and going through people costs money, not just paying them, but your time. And it's always nice. It's been an amazing experience with GoWP and the talent that I've been able to put on my team through that. Something else that I want to touch on when it comes to like outsourcing and doing it this way as opposed to hiring in-house and outsourcing through companies like us is that you have there's like, when you outsource through, let's say, Upwork or some other platform, if you don't hire them on a full-time basis, they're in my opinion, they're more likely to find and ditch you for something, another opportunity that might be better for them. Whereas with the way we do things at GoWP, whether they're working with another client or they're working internally on our projects, they always have a full-time position. We always take care of them well. We have a great a sick and vacation time situation set up for them. Like, there's no reason we make sure that all of our talent is very happy. And so that's not easy to do when you're a team of one or you're on your own and trying to find somebody, because you may only need somebody for 2 hours a day, 5 days a week. But what happens those other 6 hours? They might find somebody another company that needs them for the full 8 hours. And then that's something that's more exciting to them. And so then you lose someone that is really good. So that's one of the benefits that I found with GoWP outsourcing with us, is that like I'm able to have people on my team for 2 hours. I have someone on my team for 4 hours, and I don't have to pay for the full 8 hours, but I have definitely have top-notch talent on my team now without having the top-notch expense that usually comes with it, because you have to pay someone full-time in order to do that. And also, if you do it internally, you're paying taxes and things like that. And with outsourcing, you can avoid those other extra expenses. So that's pretty much it for me for now. If you have questions, I'm happy to answer any of them. I do recommend you go to gowp.com/grow to schedule a strategy growth call with me. We can go one-on-one. I can kind of just have a conversation with you to find out your specific needs, and if there's anything that I can recommend or suggest that will help you grow and scale your business, whether it's with GoWP or just anything in general. I actually have a client of ours at GoWP who he actually schedules time with me almost monthly, if not monthly, definitely every other month. And we have great conversation, usually lasts 30 minutes to an hour, and I give them ideas. It's really easy for me to give people ideas. It's the funniest thing consulting people is you come up with some great ideas, and then when you consult yourself, it's not always that great. So, but yeah, anyways, if you want to have a chat, let me know. And I'll stop.
Awesome, Michael. That was great. Thank you so much. Yes. And as Michael said, I just want to reiterate that we are giving away a free strategy call and I'm going to drop the link as well. To gowp.com/grow, and you can schedule your free strategy call. And yeah, you've mentioned everything that you can help everyone with. So I'm just going to get over to the questions. But yes, before
Did I really only go 30 minutes? That is crazy. I felt like I took my time and everything. I should add some more slides to that to hit the 1 hour mark. Sorry about that.
We can add the questions to your
Good.
to your slides. And that was awesome. So super valuable. And again, we have a lot of valuable questions from our audience. So let's get started with the very first one. This one just came in. Let's start with this one from Andrew. Hi, Michael. Do you have a sample priority worksheet?
A sample priority. Yes, we can get that over to you. So the one that I show on the screen share, I can definitely share that with you. Just reach out to me. If you're on Facebook, DM me, or actually just send me an email. That's probably the easiest, mike@gowp.com, and I will get that to you.
Awesome. There you go, Andrew. There goes your worksheet. And okay, so let's say that I am a small agency. Why should I outsource instead of hiring in-house?
Sure. So a lot to the point that I just mentioned, where you have the ability to bring really talented people on your team without having to pay the full expense that you would naturally have to pay if you were to bring them on otherwise. Oftentimes people don't like to work part-time. They don't, people like to have security, and so security is in a full-time position. But if you don't have full-time work, then outsourcing can be challenging. But through a company like ours, we actually avoid that because we're able to give them a full-time position, but only outsource the amount of work that that you actually need in time.
Awesome. And just real quick, Andrew, in addition to Mike's worksheet that he'll send you, just to go back to the first question, all of the worksheets and checklists are available in our different ebooks. I've dropped a few of those in the chat. So, and Michael will also send you those ebooks over so you can take a look at those as well.
Yep.
Okay, another question we have is, how long does it take an outsourced partner to get up to speed?
Yes, so that really depends on, I guess, your processes and how your expectations are. But generally speaking, anywhere, I mean, it also depends on the role that you're hiring an outsourced partner for. Like a copywriter tends to be able to jump in and hit the ground running faster than sometimes a developer may, just because even though a developer is technical, it's still, you have different ways of wanting to do things. So even though they know WordPress, they know CSS, JavaScript, and so forth, that you might have a different way of wanting them to apply their technique or their skills. And so that might take a little bit of time getting them up to speed. But I would say anywhere between 1 to 2 weeks is a fair amount of time to expect someone to start getting a good grasp of how you do things.
That's great. So another question we have is it safe to give them my passwords and my personal details? They'll need to log on to my thing. So is that considered safe?
Yeah, so what we recommend again is using like 1Password or LastPass, something that you can protect yourself in the future if things go bad, that you can easily change passwords, or in some cases, some of those tools where don't reveal the password, they just allow them to log in because it's already stored within it. So that's what I would recommend doing. But in all honesty, like in the amount of time that I've been doing this, I really haven't had any personal experience or I've heard of anyone like through GoWP for sure with any negative experience in that way. I think for someone to go through and be malicious with your stuff, it takes a lot of work, a lot of effort. And so they really have to be upset. You had to do something really bad to get them to that point. So I hope none of us are doing things that bad to upset people in that way.
Yeah, and I just want to add as well that at GoWP, we go through a rigorous vetting process of everyone that we hire. So we like to think that we have all of our bases covered in that specific area. In all areas as well, but this one specifically with people's personal details, yes.
Yeah, and like I mentioned before, our vetted help are not just working on your project; they're also working with other clients. They're working with us internally, and so it would behoove them to do something malicious like that. I mean, they would lose a lot. Wouldn't just be a situation where they're losing your account, they're losing everything. So I can't imagine that ever happening. But I do understand people's concern and for security reasons, and maybe have been bitten in the past, and so in those cases, I would definitely recommend just to be, stay on the safe side, and better be safe than sorry.
Awesome. How can I trust that they'll be working only on my projects during their assigned time?
So go with GoWP. There's 2 ways of going about it. So if you were to hire someone yourself, because I don't want this all only be about GoWP, because I want this, you realize that you can get outsourced partners anywhere. We would recommend that you have some sort of You know what I say, as I'm starting to say this out loud, I realize there's two ways to go about thinking about this. I know like Chris Lemma is against this concept, but just doing screen shares, like having
Right.
someone, being able to screen share. I'm sorry, I got my kid in the background doing school, so if you hear my apologies.
No
So
worries.
so screen share is one of the things that we do here internally at GoWP, and we don't share that with our clients, but we do review and monitor that. If there's ever a situation where a client might be concerned about something not being done or not getting amount of time, we have record of that and we can address it accordingly. But if you're doing, if you're going outside of GoWP and hiring your own outsource partner, then I would recommend having some form of screen share just to know where things are, and that you are getting the work that you're paying for.
Awesome. So another question we had, we have a bunch of questions. So another question is that what is something you do not like about Plutio? This question is from Beth
Video.
Living. Mhm.
So I know that I can honestly say I'm probably not using Plutio to its fullest extent. So I have yet to find anything that I don't like about it. I know that I've heard others are challenged by some of the invoicing and payment side of things, because it does handle that as well, the billing stuff. We don't use it for that, and so I can't say that I'm upset about it because I don't know anything about it. Other than that, from a project management standpoint, I'm really pleased with it. In fact, our copywriter Josh came in and just like, he actually helps us use it more or less better than I ever used it prior. Like he just went in there and just like it's inspiring to see others that have experience using project management tools come in and really, because when you come from a team of one or two, a project management tool is almost overkill in a lot of cases. I mean, it's good to like keep on task so you don't forget things if you have a tendency to do that, which I'm known for that. And so, but by having that in place, it helps you. But it really comes in handy when you have a team. And I learned that even more so working at GoWP with the team that we have. Like when you start seeing multiple projects being worked on by multiple people, it starts to make a lot of sense why you have to have a project management tool. So Plutio has been great for us as we're growing the team. It's been an amazing place for us to track everything.
That's awesome. Another question we have, this one is from Nirmal, and he asks, would it be a project-based or tech skill or communication-based review in terms of review and feedback? Because how they do is that they send the review form to combine everything. And also they share their feedback about the process to the client as well as the white label partner. So I guess this question is it good to share feedback to improve the process for success, or is just good to share the process, or just follow the process? It's a lot of questions in one.
Yeah. So the way that we do it, the way I do it, if we're talking about feedback from the client on the services that they're getting, we typically just keep that internal to our management team. We don't really share that with our outsourced vendors. It's just something for us to keep tabs on, like just to make sure that they're staying aligned with their projects, their jobs accordingly. And that's in ways that we might be able to see how we can improve it and help them do a better job and improve their skills and that sort of thing. But we don't really share the feedback unless it's something that stands out as should be shared. It will be like, if it's a negative something, we will definitely address it with them in a different way. We don't throw customers under the bus and say this customer about that, but we definitely want to address it and make sure that they give them an opportunity to improve. So
Okay.
That answers that question.
Absolutely. Is that your dog Whiskey?
Mm-hmm. Yes, he sneezed during my presentation right next to me too. You probably heard that.
Oh, did he? No, I completely missed it.
For those of you that don't know, I didn't share this about myself. The background here, I actually live full time in our RV and traveling in the United States, and so we have 3 dogs, 2 kids, and in order to get this video good, I had to be on my laptop and with the background. This is the best background. It's just one of those things where I'm in the middle of the living room. That's why we had kids over here to the left of me doing their schoolwork while the dog's over here not barking, but shaking. And so I apologize for all the background noise, but it's because I live in an RV.
No worries. I mean, that's the beauty of working remotely, huh? You're truly living the remote life. Another question you have. Another question we have is, what are the benefits of working with a company like GoWP versus outsourcing to your own contractors? Or sorry, versus sourcing your own contractors?
Great question. I should have actually addressed that inside my presentation. I'll have to add that slide. The reason, the benefit, I should say, not the reason, but a great benefit is because we have vetted resources available. If for some reason one gets sick, somebody passes away in their family and they have to be out for a week, which is something that's happened recently, those sort of things can be easily those people, their time can be replaced with another vetted resource quickly, so that it doesn't detract from you being able to complete your projects in time. Whereas if you had only one resource, they got COVID, and you don't want to necessarily go hire somebody else and go through the process of getting them vetted and so forth, because that takes some time. That I would say would be probably one of the strongest reasons why you would want to use GoWP in that respect. And then there's also other great benefits. Like, we do such a great job at vetting. Like, I know this firsthand. Like I mentioned, I have a designer and a copywriter and actually a developer on my team that that they're just super vetted. I mean, they just really are able to jump in and they work with each other well. And it's a great, I feel like I have a dynamic team now. So it's awesome.
Awesome. And another question we have is from Roy. He asks, what about WordPress support outsourcing to help users with WordPress and help resolve issues?
What about WordPress support and outsourcing? So, like, talking about like technical things, the troubleshooting, the issues that go
I
on.
think so. Yeah.
Okay. So so I'll give you like an honest answer from my own personal perspective. So I met Brad a few years ago. We went to Copywriters, and that's where I met him. I actually met him like just prior to Copywriters, but I really got to know him through Copywriters. And in that experience, like I was doing our own maintenance at the time of our own clients, and I I just didn't, he told me about what his company was and how much it costs and stuff. And I was real hesitant. I'm not even going to lie, to move my stuff over, because I felt like it's something that's we're able to easily do until it's not, until you get into those rabbit holes where you're having to troubleshoot and find the conflicts and stuff. But I just thought, like, I didn't want to lose that income to like transfer it over to to a company like GoWP. I since have a much different, clearer picture on that, and the amount of time and effort that I'm actually saving by just handling everything off to GoWP has helped my business tremendously, and no joke. And I wish I had done it way sooner, and I wish I understood how much savings and time and cost. Like, you just build the cost into your prices, and then you don't have to even worry about it. You just know behind the scenes it's being taken care of, and it's just so nice. It's refreshing.
Awesome. I hope that answered your question, Roy.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it did or not, but I would definitely recommend a team like GoWP for maintenance and content edits.
100%. Yeah, and if anyone has any other questions, ask now or forever hold your peace. Oh no, just email them later to Mike, Mike at GoWP, or keep them later. Another quick reminder is that you can follow GoWP for more webinars. Up top corner to the right, just click that follow button, and you are already registered. If you are already registered within Crowdsource, Crowdcast, sorry, Crowdsource. It's the outsource. I have outsource on my mind. If you're already registered on Crowdcast, you will get all of our updates and our follow-up email that we will include all of the show notes, so all of the ebooks, all of our checklists, the link to schedule your free strategy call. Just go ahead and click follow so you can have all of that all of the time. Yes, Lawrence, Mike at GoWP is the address. Yes, sir. You got that. I should have sent that in the chat. So
and I want to say one more thing too, real quick, before we can get like close out. Something I should have mentioned, another benefit of GoWP is that we do have a 5-day money back risk-free guarantee. So essentially you get to utilize our services with our dedicated resources for up to 5 days without without making your first payment. So if it's not, our goal is to make sure it's going to be a good fit and work for you. And so that's another reason why to go with GoWP. I don't know why I left that out, but I want to make sure that that was clear, because I think that's a super important thing to know, because you can get started with someone on Upwork. You'll have to pay them whether they're good or bad, and it's just could be a frustrating event. Whereas we want to ensure that you have a good fit on your team, because ultimately at the end of the day, we're all about creating happiness and making sure that you're going to be able to scale your business through us.
There you go. And I just 100%. You said that perfectly. I'm just going to say yes. Totally agree. I totally agree. You said that perfectly. All right. Well, if there are no more questions on the chat or on, yep. Okay. Awesome. Well, thank you all. I was just going to close out right on time. Give you back 5 minutes of your time. You can reclaim it however you like. Send that email to Mike. Use those.
It's not soda, it's beer. I'm drinking beer. Just kidding. It's a Sam's Club. So, Diet Cola.
That really looks like a Bud Light. I really thought
I know, doesn't it?
Oh my goodness. All right. Thank you all so much for joining us today. Michael, thank you so much for drinking on camera. No, I'm kidding. For all of your valuable insights and all of your help in terms of outsourcing services and why they're the best way to scale your agency. I'm sure if you are just catching this on the replay, thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much for coming back. And we'll see you next time. Stay tuned and make sure you follow and pay attention to that follow-up email so you can see all of the webinars that are coming up, and so you can get all of the show notes. All right. If you have any questions, email mike@gowp.com, and we'll see you next time. Bye, everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you.